Welcome to Manhwa Recaps, spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Huge shout out, and a special thanks to my Patreon and channel members. This video is sponsored by myself. I just opened up a Patreon for those of you who want individual chapters, or shorter daily uploads, that aren't enough for full-length parts on the channel yet. The series starts with a woman pleading to be let go, asking a man why he's doing this. He takes a look back at her, as she explains that because of him, this child has stopped breathing. She begins crying, asking if he's satisfied with this. He says that if she really wants to know, it's an answer she should already have. The fact that she's trapped here, and the fact that she took her own life is something that they brought upon themselves. She cries, saying that she didn't do anything, but he tells her not to say another word, because it's all over. This is his sixth iteration of loops, each consisting of a few hundred years. As he heads into a portal, he says even in this life he failed to stop the apocalypse. We learn that his name is Ji-tae. He had a thought that if he had listened to him, maybe something would have changed. As soon as he exits the portal, what he's greeted by is multiple giant dragons who turn to him. The red one, who is closest to him, starts to charge up a breath attack. He glances over at it, as the attack beams straight towards him. He says that he doesn't regret it though. He says that he's not going to let go of this child. As he uses an ability called the Formless Sword, which is SS rank. What he realized after reaching his sixth cycle, and this hellish world war, was that failure and experience are everything. As he cuts the dragon's head off in one strike, he lands on a nearby wall, and closes the gap towards a horde of dragons. He readies his blade, and starts cutting them all into pieces, sending their body parts flying through the air. After his final strike, his sword begins to dissipate, and he sighs, saying that there's no end to them, no matter how many he kills. A status window appears, saying the planet Earth is entering the apocalypse status condition, as he has failed to save it. But still, since he has the authority of the grandfather clock, which is X rank, it begins to rewind time once more. He closes his eyes, saying that it wasn't meaningless, as a bright light forms on the horizon. The status window appears once more, saying the world's time begins anew. Back to the present, we see people confused by something, as there's a portal floating in the air directly above them. They wonder if they should call the police, and a dude walks over, as his wife tells him that she's got a bad feeling about this. He says that he doesn't know when it'll disappear, and that photos are something that last forever. Monsters fly out of the gate, and she watches in horror, as her husband wins the Darwin Award for absolute dumbass. She drops her phone, cracking it, but is frozen like a deer in headlights, as monsters flood out of the gate. We learn that they've opened up all over the world, and it's a story we're familiar with. Humanity was on the brink of extinction. But amidst the crisis, they found a new hope. It opened an era known as the New Epic. The world gathered young hunters with great potential on the artificial island Hadeling to begin their education. This was the global academy city, the establishment of the layer, and now humans have started again. Ji-tae is here at the start to his seventh cycle. We see a man holding a woman hostage, telling the cops to back off unless they want to see her die. They yell, telling the man to deactivate his ability, and surrender. As they continue telling him this, Ji-tae approaches him from behind, and tells the man that they already told him what to do. The man turns in horror, because he didn't sense his presence, wondering when he got behind him. He then pushes the girl away, and starts swinging wildly at Ji-tae, asking if he's a cop. Not a single attack lands, and out of pure frustration, he goes in for a very wide swing. Ji-tae dodges it, saying that he's not just a cop, but he's the whole damn force. As he hits the dude in the face, it sends him flying across the ground like a Dragon Ball Z fight, and he says that he low-key forgot to control his strength. We learn that he is a police officer here at the academy. Turns out that he was a superhuman trafficker, and Ji-tae explains to everyone else that he heard he took a passing citizen hostage, so he showed up. A woman then asks why the trafficker's laying down like that, and he says that he brought him over. She says fine, then she needs to finish filing the incident report, but tells him that he did good work. For some reason, he seems different than usual. She wonders if he was always that tall, but he also looks more handsome. Some other dude walks over, congratulating him, saying that he thinks he might have beat him too much, and he might get complaints about excessive force again. Ji-tae says they're all unfamiliar faces to him. He hasn't gone to work a single time since he started regressing, so they were all complete strangers to him. He tells them that he'll handle the trafficker, and starts to carry him away. He says the reason he gave up on his daily life, and began regressing to stop the apocalypse, was the death of the baby dragons called hatchlings. Hatchlings who had grown to a certain extent in the other world called Ascalapa come to Earth for amusement, to build happy memories. In that process, some went mad from war, lost control, and died. Some broke, unable to endure being buried under the malice of humanity, and there were those who stopped their own hearts because they could not achieve the task given to them. Enraged by their deaths, their parents, the adult dragons, began their attack on humanity, gathering all of those capable of fighting in the planet of Escalapa. Ji-tae became so strong through repeated lives that he couldn't get any stronger, but it wasn't enough to protect the world alone. That is why, in this regression, he intends to try a different method. The woman from earlier approaches him, asking what he's going to do after work. She wants to go to a nearby restaurant afterwards, and maybe have a little date. She's low-key straight up just hitting on him, but he tells her that he has somewhere to go. She asks where, and he tells her that he has to go to Europe. Specifically, he heads to Florence, Italy. We see one of the dragons putting a crown on a kid's head, and the kid looks so happy, but so does she. Of course, remember, they're here to make memories. That is when Ji-tae approaches her from behind, and calls out to her, greeting her. She turns, curious as to who he is, and he tells her that it's time for a surprise adoption. She turns, as her ability, Fallen Babel, which is S rank, activates. It freely handles foreign languages, translating them for her. She asks why he came looking for her, and he says that he had some business to attend to. She asks if that means he came knowing who she is, and he says yes. He then asks if she knows who he is. She says she does, calling him by his name, Ji-tae, asking if she's right. He looks troubled, asking where she heard it. She tells him that it's written right there on his chest, then laughs it off, saying that she has no idea who he is or what he does, but she does know one thing, and that she can tell he's strong, but also that he doesn't belong here. He looks around, because she's not quite wrong. She then wonders if by chance he's here to kill her. He says he's not. She then asks if he's really here to kidnap her. He says it's close enough. She asks if he's a weirdo who gets off on dragons to stop there, but he tells her to stop with the jokes. He intends to protect her in this dangerous world. If she doesn't listen to him now, he'll have to resort to rougher methods. They say that the eyes of her kind can read providence, and that's why he knows she has better instincts, and grasps situations faster than other clans, and since she's one of them, he hopes that she'll make a wise decision. She asks if he's saying that if she behaves, and listens, he'll be nice to her. He says yes, and she says that she understands. It's not like she has a choice anyway, but in return, he has to treat her kindly, like a guest, asking if that's a promise or not. We see her hand shaking, and to ease her fear, he pinky promises with her. Later, at his apartment, we see her waking up, and she says that she wonders if he's awake yet. She goes over towards him, as we see him staring at some weird shadow figure. He tells it that he'll be fine, as long as it goes, and does what he says. This is the Grand Duke's summon, which is also SS rank. It summons a double that can exert up to 50% of his main abilities. It transforms into him, saying that it'll obey his command, and walks past the dragon. She greets him, and she says that it looks exactly the same. Ji-tae tells her not to mind, as he's just going to do work in his place. She asks if he's really not going to go to work. He says that the double is one of his abilities, so it is him working, and he needs to stay by her side. She laughs, saying she sees, then sits down, asking if they should have breakfast. He asks why, and she says that they should eat, as he skipped dinner last night too. He tells her that he's fine. She says that it's a little awkward for her to eat alone, when the owner of the house isn't. He asks if she always eats, as he knows dragons can live without it. She says it's not a matter of survival. Eating something tasty makes her happy, and it gives her energy too. He asks if that's really the case, and she says that it is, but they should go grocery shopping. He says that he's fine, but she insists that she'll show him the power of breakfast. They head to the S-Mart nearby, and people can't stop staring at the two of them, complimenting how handsome he is, but also how pretty the dragon is. Poor boy got caught staring. Ji-tae says that they're buying a bit much just to make breakfast. She says when she checked earlier, there were no ingredients in the kitchen at all, and since they'll be cooking in the future too. He says that they should hurry up, and she says she'll whip him up some breakfast right away. He says that they'll drop this at home, and eat out. She asks why, and he says that there's some places they need to stop, so she needs to come too. Besides, it's way past breakfast time. She says that she's sorry, she just had fun, since it's been a while since she last went shopping. She asks what kind of place they'll be going to. He says that there are things she'll need to live here, and that they need to go, because they have a lot to do. Later, we see a bald creep ogling her, saying she's beautiful, asking if it's his girlfriend. Ji-tae says that if he doesn't want to lose his other eye, to just shut up, and make it. The dude pouts, and we see them going place to place, buying multiple items, and finally she has her own ID card. We see that he's given her his last name, but also the name of Bomb. He asks if she's never had an ID card before, and she says that no, she's never even had a bank account or a watch either. He asks how the hell she's been living here all this time. Then she says that she knows the last name is his, but asks why her first name is Bomb. He tells her that it's from the 4 seasons, since there are 4 dragons. She says that she likes the name. Spring is the season of life that comes to the world, after all. It's a very pretty name. To be honest, it's not that she's scared of him anymore, but her eyes are still constantly warning him that he is dangerous. But she doesn't think he's a bad person. He asks if she can be so sure after just one day. She says that her instincts are better than anyone's, because she's from the Green Dragon clan, so if it's okay with him, she wants to watch him a little longer, and smiles at him. He says he's never seen this in any of the previous cycles, and looks up at the cherry blossoms blooming, saying that the beginning isn't bad. This cycle might be pretty relaxing. It takes us to a wasteland somewhere on the African continent, as we see a red-haired girl asking why they were acting all tough, when this is all they had. The dude yells, calling her a crazy bitch, but she kicks him in the face. She's slamming his head into the ground, laughing. She says that he was so ugly, she stomped a little hard, asking if he's dead, but she says this makes it 199 wins out of 199 fights, and she wonders who her next opponent will be. Later, on the news, Jite was browsing, as he's reading about how South America is now a battlefield, and they're in major conflict, but also that the African vigilante, Night Hunter, is at odds with the terrorist. Jite says maybe it's time he made a move. Bomb knocks, asking if he's busy, because dinner's ready. He tells her he'll be right out. He then looks at her food, which is absolutely not edible, and he thinks about if he's even gonna try it. She asks him what he thinks, as she saw a dish using sardines while she was in the United Kingdom. She thought it would pair well with the rice, as Koreans love rice. He spoons up a bit, and the fish whispers to kill it, realizing that low-key he doesn't want to eat this shit. He tells her that he's going to get red tomorrow. She says that it's going to be difficult to bring her back. She won't come easily like she did. Jite says that it won't be that hard if she comes, and convinces her. She asks how, and she says they all want different things. She has fun taking her time, and building things, but the red dragons are different. They love war, and violence, and tend to flaunt their strength. That's why using force to bring her here is a mistake. To the red dragon, subjugation is worse than death. He says that it's going to be dangerous if they don't bring the red dragon in soon, because there's someone after her, and at this rate, she will be killed. So if she goes with him, they can settle this peacefully. She stares at him, and he asks what's wrong. She says that it's just interesting seeing him ask for something like this, as she thought that he was someone who tries to do everything by himself, no matter what. She then says that it's not every day that he asks for help, so she'll do it, also because she doesn't want Red to die either. But she does have a condition. He has to finish what she made for him. As she saw him put down his spoon as they spoke, he immediately turns into the meme of the dog accepting its fate, and then raises the spoon to his mouth. Meanwhile, in South Africa, we see Red going on a spree. She throws a man to the floor, saying that he's weak too. She didn't want her 200th victory to be like this. There's no match left for her in Africa, so she doesn't know where to go next, but she did hear Green was in Europe, so maybe she should head over there to see her. The men say that this is insane. They're the elite force, yet they're being wiped out by a girl. His homie tells him to not think of her as a girl. She's a battle-crazed monster. He says that what's certain is that they're not enough, and that they need someone to come here soon. Red appears on the wall behind them, asking what they're whispering about over here. They're surprised that she's there, and they instantly turn to shoot at her, but she tells them it's too late. As she goes to swing, a new attack comes in from the side. She blocks it with her sword, and wonders what's up with this mana. She has to use a lot of strength to blast it away. They can't believe she slashed away the mana, calling her a monster. A man then appears, saying that must be the Night Hunter. We learn that his name is Javier. He tells his men to take the wounded, and fall back. He is rank 8 in the superhuman ranking, and is affiliated with the African Union. Red says that he surprised her, because that attack just now was heavy, which means he must be the boss here. He says that he heard she was a girl, but she's younger than he thought. They ask if he's fallen for her now, and that's why she had a mask on before. Nobody fought her properly without it, as they were always too busy staring at her face. Javier says that he's surprised she felt the power difference between the two of them, yet still won't surrender. She asks what kind of person she'd be if she retreated after her weapon broke. She would much rather die fighting than surrender, and live. Closing the gap, she swings down, and he backsteps it. She then goes for a kick, which he blocks. Again, she comes in with a heavy left, but she can't land a single attack. She thinks she sees an opening, rearing back her fist, and comes in with the ultimate dick punch, but after it comes into contact with him, she's surprised, asking whether there's no reaction. He says that she must have never fought anyone stronger than her, and that all of her fights have been easy till now. It's a shame to waste all that talent, but he won't be playing along with her games anymore. He swings, as she narrowly dodges. She realizes she made a mistake. He then starts to charge up his attack, called the Sword of Ra. His eyes begin glowing golden. She puts up her block, realizing that this is unavoidable, as he swings, cleaving all the nearby buildings in half, sending her flying backwards. She crashes into a wall. Javier says that she strengthened her arms in that short time he blocked it, which he didn't expect, but he needs to increase his output. He looks back, seeing that she's not there, saying that she must have run away. As we see Bomb blocking her mouth, and her arm has been turned back into a dragon. She asks what she's doing here, and Bomb says she came to save her, because she heard she was in trouble. She asks what she means, as she just popped out of nowhere. Bomb says that she was told that she would die if she kept fighting like this. Red says that she told her not to interfere with her fights, if nothing else, and just mind her own business, as she's going to fight till the end. Bomb says that their fun ends if she dies. She asks how. Bomb says her death isn't solely her own, and that their fun will all be ruined. She wants to stay on Earth, asking if she'll work with her. Red thinks about it, asking if they're meant to run away, as this dude is hella strong, so he'll catch up in no time. Bomb says that her guy will take care of it. She asks what she means by her guy, and Bomb tells her not to worry about it, as she didn't come alone. As we see Ji-tae behind Javier, he turns, asking who he is. Ji-tae sighs, and says that he's actually a chaperone. Javier asks what he means by a chaperone, as it doesn't seem like she needs one. Red takes a peek, asking if that's the guy she was talking about. Ji-tae says it's too complicated to explain everything, but they should stop here. He asks what he thinks he's doing. He shows up out of nowhere, and spouts nonsense, and this isn't something they could just let slide, as she crossed a line. He tells her she hasn't killed anyone yet. Javier tells him not to play games with him. Ji-tae says she isn't going to be out here much longer anyway, and he should just let it go. Javier tightens the grip on his blade, asking if he really thought he'd let him go away just because he said that. This area is within his jurisdiction to begin with, and as an investigator, he's going to be arresting her, and him who claims to be her chaperone. He activates his Sword of Ra once more, and swings, doing the same attack he did to Red straight towards Ji-tae. The attack is bright, and starts to destroy everything around it. After the rubble has settled, and we see the path of destruction it created, Javier says that if he is with that monster of a girl, this shouldn't be enough to hurt him. Oh boy was he right, as Ji-tae appears behind him, saying that this is frustrating, as he's supposedly the 8th rank superhuman, but still this is all he amounts to. Javier panics that he's behind him now, and goes to use Sword of Ra once more, but as he casts it, we see his arm flying into the air. He then feels the sensation, as he watches it flying up into the sky. Ji-tae descends onto the ground beside him, telling him to listen quietly. This is the unluckiest day of his life. He unfortunately met an unforeseen monster while taking in that girl, and he wasn't able to properly respond to the attacks, resulting in him losing both of his arms and eyes. He lost track of both targets, and he's going to forget everything that happened here, as he holds the blade up to his eyes. He starts to gouge them out. Javier screams. Ji-tae explains that they're healing superhumans within his group, so lost limbs and eyes can be healed, however the fear that's now imprinted in him won't be. Fear is effective, as seen here, and he's made good use of it. Javier starts screaming, and as Ji-tae looks back, he says that the fear also applies to Red too. As we see her asking Bomb just what the hell is the deal with that monster. Bomb then tells her that he's not a monster, but a human. She laughs, saying that if that's a human, she's nothing but a lizard. Ji-tae then says that she will live within his house, under his protection. If she gives up enough freedom, he'll support her if she wants anything, but if she dares to leave his protection, Bomb cuts him off, saying that Red is in shock, and she'll calm her down, and explain things to her later. Red asks what she thinks she's doing. Bomb winks to Ji-tae. He thinks about it, saying that from now on, her name is Yoram. He also gives her his last name. Bomb tells her that she's grown a lot since last time, and Yoram tells her that she's not in the mood to be messed around with right now. Ji-tae looks up at the sky, and puts his hand to his ear, saying that he reporting that the situation has been handled. Turns out that was the shadow soldier. At the same time, in the rainforest of the Amazon, we see him with a little girl. He says good work, and he'll finish up, and return. He says that Yoram is a total brute, so convincing her would have been difficult for his clone alone, so it was a good thing he sent Bomb with him. Girl then asks who he was talking to, and he says it's nothing. She says that it's weird, cause his smartwatch is on her wrist, saying maybe he just enjoys talking to himself. This is the gold dragon. Like all gold dragons, she loves attention, and she lived a third of his 6 cycles as an idol. The one who outshone all of them was the dragon who caused the most destruction. The love of many is glamorous, but comes with its downsides. That reason is why she's here, in the middle of nowhere. She tells him that the watch is super cool, has a projector screen above, and the image is super crisp. She's never seen anything like this last time. Maybe she's in her own loops. I don't quite understand what that means, but he asks what she's doing out here. She should be amongst humans. She's here for entertainment, cause there's nothing but beasts and bugs here. She asks how he knew that, and he says that he heard from Bomb, the green dragon. She says that she did smell her on him, so he knows green. He then calls out to her, asking if she's afraid of humans now. She says the thing is she's not scared of them, but she's lived amongst them before. They would follow her when she went home, look at her with weird stares, and keep following her. That was a little scary, and stuff, but that's all. He asks if she likes bread. She says that she doesn't need to eat, since she's a dragon. He snaps his fingers, as a rift opens, hands start to form out of it. It's called the Void of Shallow West, which is S rank. It's a subdimension that can swallow an entire city, and it delivers a bag full of bread. She looks amazed, and then stares down at the bread, saying that it's real, and it smells really good, asking if he's really giving it to her. He says he is, and she wonders why he is so much, as there's donuts, blueberry, egg tarts too. He tells her to come with him, rather than staying here. Her friends will be there too, so it'll be safe, as she needs to enjoy her entertainment like the other dragons. She says still, her mom told her not to follow strangers, and he says he'll buy her macaroons. She drops the food in her hands, as her eyes start to light up. Some time later, back at the apartment, we see Yoram getting out on the balcony, and she can't stop thinking about Javier, and how he just got bodied, but she's frustrated. Bomb sees her, and wants to go console her, until she hears the door open. She turns, as we see the little golden dragon with Ji-tae, saying that she promises she's not here for more bread. As she's eating, the next thing, she has one of those Food Wars reactions, saying that it's so soft, but it's also crunchy, and that this is the taste of heaven. Bomb welcomes him back, and the gold dragon is excited to see her, and Bomb says it's been a while. Gold quickly runs over, hugging her, as Bomb tells her she's gotten prettier. Gold says that it's been so long, and she's missed her. Gold asks how long they've been living together with this guy. She says just for a few days, and Red's also here. The shadow welcomes him back, and he says that he'll call him again, so to return to work. As he leaves, Red enters the apartment, spotting Ji-tae, and is too frustrated to say anything. Gold yells out for her, and starts annoying her, asking how she's been, but also why she's smoking again. Red grabs her lips, telling her to be quiet. She keeps yapping. She'll rip her tongue out. Gold calls her mean. Then he asks for their ages. They all tell him how old they are. Gold then mentions that he keeps calling Red Yoram, asking if that's a fake name. Yoram says she doesn't know either. Bomb then explains that's the name he gave her, and that she is Bomb. Gold says they haven't even had their coming of age ceremonies yet, so how do they have names? And they're supposed to be special, not something simple like that. She says if their names are Bomb and Yoram, which translate to spring and summer, then she'll probably be Fall, which is Gayul. Ji-tae says that's correct, and her necklace will be Gyeol, which means winter. They ask if he really knows this is Blue's egg. He says that it's a polymorph, and she'll be born soon, so be careful with her. They say that he sure does know a lot for a human, asking how he knows all this. He says they don't need to know that, and he'll say it again, since they're all here. They just need to follow one rule. Enjoy their entertainment here, but don't leave the fence. Gayul asks what he means. He says that he doesn't want them to hide themselves from him. Their entertainment will be under his control, and within his supervision. Yoram starts to get annoyed, and shit talks to him, while the other two just stare at her. She asks what they're staring at, and Bomb asks if that means they can have fun nearby. And if that's the case, they should go out for a bit, and since they'll be living here, she needs to go get them identities and supplies. Gaeul says that sounds fun, but Yoram says that she doesn't think they should be going out when they don't have money. Ji-tae tells them not to worry about it, and throws them his wallet. Bom asks how much they can spend, and he says that they can spend as much as they want. They start to go on a shopping spree, and he watches, as they're just buying everything one after the other, until his credit limit is reached. He stares at it, as they're home with all their items. Then Bom awkwardly hands him his wallet back, saying that they spent too much, and she wanted to buy some clothes for him too, but couldn't, because of the credit limit. He says it's fine. As Gaeul tells him to check this out, she starts going from outfit to outfit, asking if he thinks they're pretty, and she bought them all, because she thought they looked great, and she's happy with them. He says they look good on her, and she thanks him. Yoram realizes that she should probably do the same, and shows him that she bought a watch, and a sword, as hers was destroyed. He says she bought a pretty decent one, and she says she's glad it wasn't garbage. Gaeul says that she bought some for her to try on too, but Yoram says she doesn't need any of that. Bom says that Yoram isn't good at expressing her feelings, but she's grateful. Ji-tae says that's a relief, but asks if she didn't buy anything, as she seems empty-handed. She says she bought one thing, and it's on the table. It's a potted plant. She says it feels nice to tend to them, and he asks what she's talking about. She says that it will flower, and become memorable, something that she can cherish forever. But she's curious about something. He asks what, and she says that as he knows, their entertainment isn't just about eating and drinking. If there's any way to get the full experience well under his supervision. He says there is, and she looks surprised. He says that it'd be pretty simple if they go to school, which would be the Lair Academy. Gaeul and Yoram wonder if they heard that right. Later, they say that they're back, and Yoram wonders why the interview took so long. Bom wonders if maybe he's not here. Gaeul says that she thought of something horrible. What if they both make it, and she fails? She'll be the only one not going to school. Yoram asks why she keeps talking about the worst case scenarios, and that she should just shove her face with bread. She says she's going to fail, because she's a pig, but Ji-tae tells them that they did good with the interviews. She starts hugging him, saying that they're going to fail her, but he tells her not to worry. Bom asks where he's been, and he says that he was out getting this. As he holds up a bag, Gaeul starts sniffing it, saying that it smells good, asking what it is. He says it's something she'll like. Her eyes light up, asking if it's bread, and he says that she'll like it even more. He recalls her being on a talk show one night, and how her name as the pop star was Baby Yellow, and how she went on a show where they eat a lot of food, and that their chefs will cook up her favorite dishes on the spot, asking what she wants to eat the most, then laughingly talks about a rumor that she survives only on morning dew. She laughs it off, saying that she's still human, so that's not possible. When she talks about what she likes the most, we see that it was actually fried chicken. Her mouth starts watering, and her head starts wagging, as she says that this smells really good. Yoram asks if she's never had this before. Then Gaeul says that it's going to be her favorite thing from now on. Yoram tells her that it's just chicken, and it's not that big of a deal. Bom asks if he's not going to eat with them, but Ji-tae says that they can go ahead and dig in. She's a little annoyed, saying that he should eat with them though. He heads out to the balcony, as the admission office for Lair contacts him. They called him because of a slight issue during the interview. He asks what they're talking about, and then the person asks if he didn't hear it from Bom. He says he didn't. Apparently, she got a perfect score in the interview, and they couldn't praise her enough. That's why they offered her the chance to be the one to lead the entrance ceremony. He says a direct offer seems a little surprising, and the person says that it was, and everybody offered it to her directly. The problem is that she declined. This is a great opportunity, so they were wondering if he could convince her otherwise. He says that he won't do it. If that's what she wants, that's what he wants. Then he hangs up the phone, saying that's all. Yoram comes onto the balcony with a cigarette, asking if the call was about Green. Ji-tae tells her to call her Bom instead, but she says that name is cringe, asking if he's really trying to play house at his age, and if he's Blackbeard. He asks what the hell she's trying to say. She thinks about it, asking why he's sending them to Lair. He says to give them what they want. She says all she wants is a good fight though, asking if there's anyone strong there. He says there must be, since the best around the world are there, but she says that they're still all kids. He says that she's still one too. Annoyed, she flicks her cigarette, saying that she wants to have a fight properly with him. She knows that he's strong, but she wants to know exactly how strong. And if he's going to keep her under him, she needs to see what he's capable of. He thinks about it, and says that they should just head inside and eat, as he sighs. She asks why he's such a bore, and he says that he doesn't know. She flips him off. Then Gaeul says that she shouldn't be like that, when they have such good food here. She yells, saying she's not going to. She shoves it into her mouth, and says that this shit is gas. We learn more about Lair, and how it's an educational institution unlike any other in the world. It's a school that trains superhumans who have various blessings and abilities. But the cadets who train in Lair are the children of CEOs, royal houses, and geniuses. As such, the academy receives constant criticisms on structural hierarchism. We see them actually attending the school now, and Gaeul says that this school is so cool, and she heard only the super rich get in. She then says that maybe Ji-tae is the hidden child of a CEO, because he never mentioned anything when they spent all of his money. Gaeul says that he does look the part, but that aside, it's a relief they got in. She agrees, saying that she thought she'd fail, but she's happy to be with the two of them. And she likes the uniform. But then she wonders where Yoram and Ji-tae are. Bomb says that Yoram went to the Blue Dragon School for practical exams, and he went with her as a chaperone. Gaeul asks what that is, so Bomb tells her that adult supervisors of children accompany the students in the lair, so that the immature superhumans don't go out of line. She says that makes sense, because she'd be a menace without it. Bomb says apparently what Yoram applied for requires cadets to duel with each other. Gaeul gets excited, saying that she could watch them, but Bomb says they can't. Gaeul asks why, and she says that's because it would be weird if they all went together. At the Blue Dragon School, we see students fighting one another all around, as their stages spread across the floor. Ji-tae is sitting in the seat. Then a woman appears, telling everybody to calm down, as they are only causing their future cadets more anxiety. A man asks who she is, and she says she hasn't introduced herself yet. He says he is the head professor of the Blue Dragon School, named Wei Yuan. Thought this was a woman by the hair. My bad, gang. He says it's a pleasure to meet them all. Two of them say likewise, but Ji-tae stays silent. As they keep yapping, he looks at them, until he hears numbers 124 and 7 to be called up. This catches his attention, because it's none other than Yoram, who says this better be interesting. Her opponent stares at her, and Yoram says that if it's not fun, she's going to have to run away. Some students start talking about who they should bet on, and one of them says that both are pretty, but he thinks the redhead is more his type. Dude asks if he's stupid, saying that he asked who he thinks is gonna win. He says that there's no doubt about it, it'll be Sofia Vorkova. She was already in RIL before she got here. RIL is Russia's Hunter Special Task Force that played a big role in the Great War. They're infamous for their training methods, which are close to torture, which means everybody knows that she's tough as hell. A man yells, saying that the higher-ups have high expectations of her, telling her that she can do it, and win. His name is Mikhaler, and people tell him he can't be here. Sofia just finds him embarrassing. Yoram says that her daddy seemed to be really anxious, and that she should just surrender, and go to him. She can tell she's a papa's girl. Sofia tells her to shut her mouth, or she might really die here. Yoram tells her to go ahead, and try. The students say that she's scary, and they wouldn't expect any less from someone from RIL, and they say that the redhead's scary too. They get told to get to their positions, and Ji-tae watches. Sofia puts up her guard, and Yoram just looks confident. The bell rings to start, as Sofia closes the gap in an instant with her fist ready. Yoram catches the blow, saying that her speed isn't bad, telling her to have a taste of this, as she swings. Sofia ducks underneath, and comes in with a kick to the face. Yoram blocks it with her wrist, but the attack's strong enough to cut through her clothing. She says she just got these, and it makes her pissed. Sofia then distances herself from Yoram, but it was momentarily, just to make her drop her guard, as she closes the gap with a single stride. She starts trying to hit blow after blow, but not a single attack is able to land on Yoram, as she's effortlessly dodging them. Yoram looks towards the cage, running to it, and bounces off of it, as they're flying straight towards each other. Yoram raises her weapon into the air, and swings down, causing Sofia to have to block it with her guard. She fractures both of her arms, and she starts to make a pained face, but Yoram looks like she's finally starting to enjoy it. While Sofia's blocking, Yoram uses some instant transmission to get behind her, saying that she hopes she didn't think she was easy, because she was playing along. She comes in with her punch, hitting Sofia, making her fly all the way to the border of the cage, and she begins to cough up blood. Yoram points her blade at her, and starts laughing. She's officially declared the winner. Then she taunts her, saying that she acted like she was strong, but that shit was freelo. Sofia looks pissed, And Yoram says that for the so-called elites, turns out they're just a bunch of kids trying to play hero when they're just losers. Michaela runs into the arena, and the students can't believe she just got her shit rocked like that, but it looked pretty even at the start. One of them says that the redhead isn't even hurt, so she was playing with her. They start talking about how strong she is, but say maybe Sophia's just weak as hell. She might be from real, but it looks like she's here just because of her looks. She doesn't have the skills, so her face must be what's saving her. Sophia can hear all of this. The nurse says that she's done first aid, she should be fine soon, but her arms are still fractured. Michaela thanks her. But Sophia tightens her fist, frustrated, saying that she's not done yet. Michaela laughs, saying that she did her best, and it's a shame, but she can't defeat that child as she is now, but he's not disappointed in her. She stares down at the knife on his leg, and he says that it was lucky that she met her now, as loss makes a person stronger, and he will report this to the higher-ups himself. The nurse then tells him that his daughter is walking out of the cage, and we see her holding the knife, saying that she never surrendered. She was just pushed back a bit, as she begins to release mana into the knife. She says that she's fine, and she asks Yoram where she thinks she's going, since she's not done yet. She dashes forward, and stabs her straight in the back with her mana-enhanced blade. Ji-tae just sits there watching, as Yoram grits her teeth, as Sophia tells her to die, calling her a bitch. The students are surprised, and so are the other spectators. Ji-tae though is still staring. As the blade pierces all the way through Yoram, they then land separate from one another on the floor, and Yoram grabs onto the blade, saying that bitch must really want to have a go. She then is surprised, as she's already closed the gap, and begins to imbue her fist with mana. She swings down, but Yoram backsteps. She grabs her by the hair, and starts pulling her towards her, saying that she's dead. She readies her fist, and hits her straight in the face. She continues, with each punch getting heavier and heavier, and the students say that they should stop her, until Yoram punches her so far she flies into the crowd like a human bowling ball. Her face is now bruised, and deformed, but Yoram pulls the blade out of her back, saying that she's not done yet, and she'll do what she did to her. But Michaela walks up, grabbing her wrist, saying that's enough, and to stop. Yoram tells him to let go. Then Wei Yuan tells mages to create an overlap space, as the test is paused for now. They start to do so, creating the barriers. Then Yoram drops the knife, asking why they're only mad at her, because that bitch is the one who stabbed her first. He says that gives her no right to try to kill her. Yoram hits him with straight facts, asking if she was meant to just let herself be killed instead. Michaela says with her skill, she could have simply knocked her out. Yoram tells him that he should raise his daughter better, because the bitch has anger issues. Wei Yuan then tells them both to calm down, as they're heated, and tells Yoram that they went to go look for her guardian, so she should receive treatment first. She says that she's still too pissed off, but he says he understands how she feels, as he watched the whole situation, but he can't just watch as she worsens it. She asks what he means, and he says that if she makes a bigger deal out of this, he can't help anymore, and it might end up affecting her family. And by that, he means the Yu family, as it's not just her in it. If her family is harmed because of her, surely she would be upset. So until her guardian is here, he suggests that she wait. But Ji-tae says there's no need to wait, as he is her guardian. He enters the barrier, telling him to stop cornering a kid that's been hurt, and they can talk outside. Wei Yuan just looks surprised, and even Yoram is, but Yoram's also battling some other emotions, and doesn't know what to say. Later, at Wei Yuan's office, he says that he brought some tea that's famous in Taiwan, and that tea calms the mind. But he's more surprised that Ji-tae was easily able to walk through the overlap space, meaning he's a high-level ranker, though he's never heard of him or his household, so he should look into it. He laughs, saying he doesn't know where to begin. He's sorry this had to happen, but it's a relief that neither of them was hurt too badly, as Yoram's already been discharged from the medical ward. He doesn't think there's a need to make a bigger issue out of this either, as the two have to keep seeing each other at school, so they should resolve it now. If the two of them can come to an agreement, he'll take care of the rest. Michaela says that he's sorry, since it was his daughter who started this, and introduces himself. He says that she's still young, and immature, and he thinks her emotions got the best of her. He goes to say he's sorry, but Ji-tae tells him he doesn't want the guardian's apology. He slams the table, asking what he means. Ji-tae says there's no point in him apologizing when he wasn't the one involved in the incident. Michaela says that he shouldn't be like that. They're both guardians, so they should take this easy. Then asks if he knows where he's from. Ji-tae says they're not in the same position though, asking if this is how people where he's from apologize. Michaela asks if he's meant to bring his injured child here, and force her to apologize. Ji-tae says yes. Michaela continues to yell, as Wee-won tells them to calm down. Ji-tae says he's not here because of that girl. He's curious why Michaela didn't stop her when he saw her running at another child with a knife. His face turns red, and he yells, saying it happened out of the blue. Ji-tae says that's an awful excuse, and he must be embarrassed to be using his child as an excuse for his lack of skills. Michaela grabs his collar, saying that there's a limit to his patience, asking if he wants to make an enemy out of Ril. He's from some family nobody's even heard of. His knife is then pointed at his throat, and he looks horrified. Ji-tae says the dagger is sharp, and things would have gotten real bad had Yoram been unlucky. He asks when he grabbed it, and Ji-tae says his sheath is too loose, that's why he didn't even notice when a kid took it. Michaela, though, said that he had his key sense at the highest. Ji-tae then calls out his name in a cold tone, telling him to avoid empty alleyways, as he gets behind him. After having stabbed the knife into the table, Michaela straight up just shits in his pants, dropping a nasty log. Ji-tae says he's done here, as Michaela sits there marinating in his dookie, and Wee-won just looks surprised, and starts laughing out of nervousness. Out in the hallway, Ji-tae spots Yoram waiting for him. He asks if she's feeling okay. She tells him it was just a scratch. He knows how hard it is to kill Reds. He says he's glad to hear it. We see her still thinking about something. She then asks if he doesn't think she's in the wrong too. It's just that she's been wondering if it was all her fault, but she's really upset, and she should have been the bigger person. He tells her that she did great. But next time to kill her in a place where there are no witnesses. He starts to walk away, and she laughs, realizing that he might just be as crazy as she is. She tells him not to regret what he just said, as he's the one who told her to do it. He says that he won't. As they continue to walk down the hallway, Ji-tae tells Yoram to pack her things the moment they return home. She asks why, wondering where she's going, and he tells her that she'll be moving into this lair. Yoram says that she can already tell that Gaeul is going to be happy, and chirping about it. Wee-won then calls out to Ji-tae, asking if he can have a moment of his time to talk. He says he thought the discussion came to an end. Wee-won says of course it did, but he'd like to tell him something. It's about Yoram, so she can listen as well. Yoram says she'd rather not hear more nagging. Wee-won says that's not what it is. He just wants to offer her a good opportunity, and offers her the position to be the freshman representative of the Blue Dragon School. She asks what that means, and he says that she will literally become the face of the school. She'll be awarded a scholarship, and artifacts, and she'll be showing her face in the media. Ji-tae says that's a pretty sudden offer, asking if he's sure they can proceed with all of that by himself. Wee-won tells him not to worry about that. He happens to be friends with the vice principal Ma Nam-joon. Ji-tae says this makes more sense. Of course he'd be friends with Nam-joon, because both of them are demonic humans after all. Demonic humans, contrary to superhumans who take on blessings, they instead take on void. They mainly crave blind rage, and killing intent towards humans, along with lust, and the like. Because of these demonic humans, the world has once again faced a great danger. On his first and second cycles, he would continuously lose something precious to the demonic humans. That is why he imagined himself killing Wee-won multiple times when he first appeared in front of him, but he endured, and endured, because Wee-won has to die bearing much more on his shoulders. Ji-tae tells him he understands what he's saying, but the more important factor here is what the person in question thinks, as he is only her guardian. Wee-won says he's absolutely right, as ultimately it's her decision. He assures her that they will go through many changes from now on, and they'd like her to represent their school. He asks if she'll help him draw the future together. She says hell no. Wee-won wonders if he heard that wrong, but she says he definitely heard it right. She tells Wee-won that she wants to head home, as her and Ji-tae will have to go pack her stuff. Wee-won tells her to wait, asking why she even came for the interview, and she says that she was just lying on her bed. Wee-won asks if that was all, and she says that she just got bored, wanting to fight. Wee-won starts to get pissed, as it snaps a nerve, but then he hears something, and looks out the window, telling her to take a glance. When she does, what they see are a lot of reporters. Wee-won explains that they are reporters who came to hear his opinion on the incident, as they're waiting out there so that they can ask for his take on the matter. This also means that her life in the lair depends on what he says, asking if she understands. She looks down at the reporters for a second, before saying that she really doesn't care, and walks away. Wee-won laughs, and stares at her while pissed, saying that he hopes that she doesn't regret her decision. When they leave, the reporters start to hound her, saying that she must be the one who got in the knife fight incident, and they heard that she is holding ill intentions towards Sophia. They start shoving microphones and cameras into her face, and she asks what's wrong with all these people. One woman says that her interview scene is going viral in the Korean internet communities, asking if she went rampant on the interview to gather attention for the revival of her family. They continue asking her questions, and Ji-tae tells them to stop burdening an injured child. Then Yoram says that if this is what they want, she'll give it to them. She grabs one of the recorders, and says that if they really want to know what she wants, but I'm not going to say that, because YouTube needs to be friendly. She is a freak. Sometime later, they head to the dorms within the lair, as Gaeul is going crazy. She says that this house is huge, as we see them all in it. Starts running up the stairs, asking if they're really living here. She's going to take dibs on the best room. Yoram tells her the biggest is hers, and when she opens the door, her eyes instantly start to sparkle, and she says that this room is way too good. The bed's spacious, and the TV is the latest model, and there's plenty of sun coming in as well. It doesn't look like a bad room, so she's going to be using it. Yoram walks up, saying the balcony's perfect for smoking, and this room is hers. Gaeul says she can't, she called dibs first. She said she'd use the biggest room, but the other room is the biggest. Until Gaeul starts staring at her. Then hits her over the head. Gaeul agrees, saying that she can have this room. Later, we see Bomb watering Blue, saying that she can't wait for her to hatch. Ji-tae asks why she's spraying water on it. Bomb tells him that she said that she learned it from prenatal education. Blue dragons love water. Then asks if he knows that the entire lair has been only talking about Yoram lately. He asks if it's the interview, and she says yeah, from a few days ago until now, all she can find is stuff about her. Then here's what she said that she wanted on the interview. As Bomb starts to cover Blue's ears, saying that she's not allowed to hear it. Later, Yoram asks what's so bad about the word to make such a commotion, as they all came from that activity. Gaeul just wonders what it means, and Yoram asks if she really wants to know. Gaeul says yes, and Yoram says of course it's time for her to learn about the birds, and the bees. Gaeul says that she doesn't think she wants to hear it anymore, as her mom always said there's no need to know too much. Yoram tells her that she can't say no, and she'll tell her everything about it. Gaeul tries to cover her ears, but Yoram pulls them apart. She screams for Ji-tae's help. He just starts to disassociate in the corner. Some time later, we see Yoram laying in her bed, and she seems to be having a nice dream. Gaeul, of course, wants to ruin it, as she hauls ass up the stairs, telling her that there's a problem. Yoram wakes up, saying that she's tired from staying up all night, as she buries her face into the pillow. Gaeul asks what she was staying up all night doing, and she says that she was watching Korn. Gaeul doesn't know what that is, but says that there's something important going on. Yoram says that it better be important. When she gets downstairs, she sees everybody gathered around the egg. Bomb tells her that she thinks that it's about to hatch. As it begins to shake, it cracks. They all wonder what's about to pop out. Bomb says that the last time he saw the birth of a life, it was not so beautiful. As he sits there, staring down at a woman pleading with him to please save her child, a woman tells Ji-tae, calling him captain, that it's too late. The woman says that her child isn't breathing, and the woman says that it died as soon as it was born. Ji-tae stares at it, starting to zone out. It was a pretty unpleasant memory that he never liked looking back on, and he thought he'd never have to recall them, but right now he's definitely reminded of it. Yoram looks down, as the blue dragon, who we know is named Gyeol, raises its arms out of the shell, followed by its wings, and finally her head, and she looks up at them. Pretty cute. Bomb congratulates her on hatching, as Gyeol starts to wipe herself free from all the eggshells. Later, after wrapping her up like a little burrito, Bomb takes care of her, and Ji-tae asks if she learned how to do this, and she looks like she's used to it. She says that their mothers used to do it to them, and usually she would be licking them, but she didn't want to do that. She asks Ji-tae if he wants to hold her, and he says that he's fine. Gaeul says that she wants to do it. Bomb hands it over to her, telling her that she's fragile, so be careful. Gaeul says okay, and hugs it, saying that this is so healing to her. She then realizes that Yoram should do it, asking if she wants to hug her too. Yoram tells her to hold her all she wants, and Gaeul throws her at her, telling her to give it a try. Yoram asks if she's out of her mind. Bomb tells her to be careful. Gaeul starts to yawn, and Yoram can't help but feel touched by how cute it is. Gaeul asks if she gets it now, and Yoram says that it is cute, but she wonders if Ji-tae wants to try it too. Gaeul agrees, and Yoram says that he's just going to continue playing all nonchalant, and that she's going to throw her at him, so it's up to him to catch her. Gaeul asks if she's really going to do it, and Yoram says that she's had one goal in mind ever since she moved to this house. She wants to see that guy panic, as she readies the Gil cannon, but instead, Ji-tae grabs it out of her hands. Yoram says that's no fun, and Gaeul says that Yoram is too damn crazy. Bom tells Ji-tae to pet her, since she's already in his arms. Bom looks down on it, and raises his finger, going to pet her. He asks if this is how he's meant to do it. Ji-tae asks Gaeul what she's doing, and she says that it's just a rare scene, so she wanted to take pictures of it. Bom says that they should take a picture all together, but they ask what's up with the flower. She says that it's for the photo. They wonder what she's doing, and we see her putting it into Ji-tae's ear, and Gil gets one too, as they are now ready for their photo shoot. They start laughing, saying that it looks good, though they can tell he doesn't like it. Gaeul says that it looks great, and Ji-tae tells her to hurry up. Yoram asks if she has to do this, and Bom tells her not to be like that. Gaeul says that she's about to take the picture, and counts down, as they start posing for it. Later, we see Gil drinking out of its little baby bottle, and Ji-tae asks Bom what she's going to do. She says that since it's before the semester starts, she's going to teach her to polymorph while they have the time through magic transfer. The magic transfer is flowing mana into another person to teach them a spell. Usually the person being taught does not pay any price, but it eats away at the lifespan of the person teaching. Ji-tae asks if she's certain, and Bom says that she can't go outside looking like this after all. While they all learn to polymorph where they lived, Gil hasn't learned anything, and they grow fast, so she wants her to experience all kinds of things that are fun before she gets bigger. Ji-tae says he'll help if she needs it, and she says that she thought he didn't know anything about magic, though she does have a favor to ask. While she transfers it, she wants him to stay by her side while she does it. Ji-tae agrees, but she says that he needs to be closer, as would be the point, and she pats beside her, saying that he needs to be over here. He says he doesn't think that's necessary, and she says that she might get tired while doing this, and drop Gil, so he'd have to be right here to catch her. Because if she does drop her, and she hits her head on the table, she would die from guilt. Ji-tae thinks about it, then sighs. Sitting down beside her, he agrees, saying alright. She touches his shoulder, and says that it's hard. He asks what the hell she's talking about, and she gets embarrassed, saying that it's not what she meant. She then clears her throat, saying that she's going to begin with a magic transfer. A little later, we see Bom laying on the couch, saying that it's finally over. Ji-tae says that she did great, and she says that he did good too. She says that she's going to rest in her room for a bit, reminding him to feed Gil, and make her burp. If something happens, she can wake her up. As she begins walking, she starts to get a spout of dizziness, but Ji-tae notices it, and catches her. He says that he'll take her to the room. We see her eyes turn to light, and sparkle up. She tells him that it's a little embarrassing if he holds her like this. He says that it looks like she has the energy left to make jokes. She continues, saying that she hopes she's not too heavy for him. He says that she's actually pretty light, and she says that she didn't know he could say something sweet like that. He finally puts her to bed, and takes one last look before closing the door. Gil starts to feel a burst of mana. He realizes what's going on, saying there's no way it's happening already, as on the other side of the couch it's swirling violently, and when he walks over, he sees Gil. Now polymorphed into a human, and she turns, looking up at him. As we see, she's sleepy. Ji-tae, a little confused about what to do, just greets her. Sometime later, at the police station, we see Ji-tae with his co-workers, talking about how he took down a team that even the superhuman investigation unit couldn't in just a few days. We also learn that the woman co-worker's name is Worry. As his captain says that he'll pay for their meals today. She jokingly asks if he's going to be paying with a corporate card. Then he laughs it off, saying that he actually is, so he'll pay for the second round. Ji-tae says that he has business to attend to, so he'll be leaving. They ask why he's always leaving so early, as he's been going home straight after work, and it's suspicious, asking if he has a girlfriend. He says it's nothing like that, but he'll be taking his leave. They tell him to wait. Worry says that she hopes it wasn't a girlfriend, and she'll take his word on it. As we see a woman FaceTiming down the street. She walks by the clone, and he shapes into her body. We learn more about the skill. In the past, it was a skill that the Grand Duke of the Demon World used to exert influence over a distant dukedom, but after killing the Grand Duke, and becoming the new master, it became the clone of Ji-tae, as he turns into a woman now. He stares off into the distance, spotting Ji-tae on a bench. He walks over, asking if he called for him, but then realizes something strange, asking what's the deal with the kid on his chest. Ji-tae says this is Gyeol, and he's just returning from getting her haircut. The shadow says he understands that she polymorphed to her human form. Some people pass by, saying that they look like the perfect couple. The shadow says he can hold her if he'd like. Gil looks at the shadow, obviously annoyed, not wanting to be touched. The shadow is confused. Jitae says it's okay. Even if he doesn't hold her, she can walk on her own. The shadow asks what he's doing here, while leaving all the other dragons at home. He explains that Bomb is on bed rest due to the after effects of mana transference. The other two were not reliable enough to leave the kid with, but are fine alone. The shadow says that it understands. Jitae asks what it wants to say. The shadow says it's not sure what he's talking about. Jitae tells it to stop playing dumb. It already knows that all of its emotions and memories are clearly related to him. The shadow stares at him, realizing that it's true, saying that it's not that it's a complaint really, but they're starting to question their mission. Those who have owned it have never wanted an everyday life like this. They all wanted to use it for more meaningful missions. For example, killing someone who needs to die, or sending them to a position where his influence must be demonstrated. However, he's only trying to feel his everyday life. For someone like them, it's difficult to understand, and they're sorry if their words are discomforting. Jitae says that he understands that they might think like that, since they are a sentient being in the end, but there's something they'll have to do in the near future. Until then, they should just keep going to work. Also, it seems like the teammates wanted to grab a drink, so one of these days it should go with them. Because at some point, they won't be able to see each other anymore. The shadow says it understands, and walks away. Jitae looks at it, honestly a little bit guilty-like. He then hears a woman asking her daughter if that's really all she wanted, but she didn't think she'd love it this much, so she should have gotten it sooner. As the little kid's lifting the bear into the air, Gil's eyes start to light up, and Jitae can tell that she wants one, asking her. He then pulls one out of his creepy rift dimension, saying that it does look a bit different from the other one though, and hands it to her. Her heart starts to race, and we see her already infatuated with it. Jitae asks if she likes it, and she sets it on the ground, and walks over to him. He picks her up, saying that if she wants more, he doesn't have any others. Then she looks up at his face, and grabs onto his cheeks, pulling his head into hers. He wonders what she's doing all of a sudden, and realizes that she might think that mana transference is a form of showing affection. And then he starts cycling through some of his memories. All of the horror he's gone through. All of the hell he's had to live through, and the endless loops that he's endured so far. He then pulls her head away, and she wonders why he stopped, and he just smiles at her. As this is the first time in any of the cycles he's felt this kind of warmth. As they start to head back, she holds onto the bear's arm, and then Jitae's finger. She starts humming a tune, and he looks up at the sky. As there's a tinge of gold, he can tell she's already on her way. Gil wonders who he's talking about, and then Geul appears. Still not sure who he is referencing, but Jitae asks where she's been. She says that she went shopping for a bit. Geul's human form is so cute. Gil then puts her forehead to Geul's, and Geul's heart starts to melt, saying that she is excited by the gift from Mr. Jitae. He asks if she can read her mind or something, and she says that dragons can relay their feelings and thoughts to each other once they touch skin, and touching foreheads works the best. To put it simply, it's like a skinship, when they want to express their feelings. Jitae says he didn't know this. She says that she never thought there were things he wouldn't know. He then spots something, asking what that is behind her. She looks at it, saying that he should already know. She pulls out an instrument, and starts playing with it, saying that she bought this so she could express her soul without having to touch skin to skin, asking if she looks like a real musician, and she's gonna try her best. Jitae though knows that if she goes down that route, it ends up horribly with her self-destructing, getting addicted to various drugs, and extreme forms of self-harm. As he worked as her bodyguard for a while, he saw how broken it made her. Realizing that he should better persuade her, or at least guide her down the right path, he looks over at her as she's complaining about her fingers, and he tells her not to try too hard. She asks why not, and he says that he doesn't think she should overextend herself. She says that she wants to give it her all though. He then asks if Bomb is awake. Geul says that she's still asleep, as her fever's still there. Jitae says it can't be helped. She had to overwork because of the mana transference, then asks about Yorum. She thinks about it, saying that she's so focused on watching those dramas that she shut herself in her room. It's crazy, because she's never seen her this absorbed into anything but fighting. Jitae says at least it's better than her going outside causing trouble. They finally make it back home. Jitae notices something, as Geul says that she wonders if Bomb's awake. He grabs her shoulder, telling her to take Gil to her room immediately, and stay in there until he says they can come out. She asks why, and in a cold tone, he tells her to hurry. She realizes it's serious, then picks up Gil, and starts running away. Ji-tae makes sure that she makes it far enough away, and looks back towards Bomb's room. He grabs onto the handle, and enters, and what he sees are 4 knights in the room, asking if he was the one who did this to Bomb, and if he is, he needs to answer for it. These are called guardians. Dragons would use magic with subjugation to put a leash on some useful monsters, and humans that the dragons would then make into their knights, and slaves to protect the lair. Among them, a few guardians of outstanding ability also served as bodyguards for hatchlings who go out for amusement like this. He spots Bomb still sound asleep, saying that they must have sleep magic on her. One of the guardians slams his foot, saying that he needs an answer, asking if he's responsible for this. He says that if they're in someone else's house, they should be introducing themselves. One of them raises his hand, and begins to release a purple aura, saying that it seems he doesn't understand the situation. The right to ask questions belongs to the strong, which means that only they are allowed to ask questions, calling him a lowly human. The ability is called Dark Clarity. As it starts to surround him, Ji-tae says that it's a pretty high-level protection barrier, and they repeat that this is his last chance, wondering what he's done to Green, saying that they need an answer. Ji-tae says that the blue dragon has been born, wanting to teach her how to polymorph. Green overworked herself, and ended up here, asleep. They ask who he is, and he says that he's their guardian. They laugh, saying that's a ridiculous self-introduction, asking if he even has any clue who he's trying to aim to protect. He says he does, and that brings him to his next question. How did they get here so fast? As far as he knows, all of them must have scattered in a distant dimension. They're surprised, asking how he knew this, and they pull out their respective weapons, saying that's too much for a human to know. They are the guardians of the children, and the keepers of the history of causality. They acknowledge that he has taken care of the children for them, but he seems far removed from justice, and they're certain that he'll make trouble in the future if they spare him. Ji-tae sighs, saying that they should talk this through. The guardians all start to run directly at him, telling him not to worry, as they'll make this painless. The first one gets close with his sword, and swings down towards Ji-tae. He pulls out a sword of his own, blocking the attack effortlessly. The guardian is completely taken aback that he did it with such ease. Of course, it's because he is using the formless sword. He then cuts off its arm, sending him flying backwards. The other guardians all charge for it together, calling him shameful for getting knocked down a single strike, telling him to sit back and watch the show. He tries to tell them to wait, as that dude is actually him. What he sees next is horrifying, as he watches all of the guardians get chopped up into pieces, scattering their limbs throughout the apartment. As they fall onto the floor, he approaches the first one, whose arm he cut off. The guardian says that he felt something was amiss. For a mere human to know about them while watching over the young dragons, he should have known when he started having questions that this man is a transcendent being that cannot be meddled with. They've made a grave mistake. Ji-tae stares at him, and then sighs, saying that he told them they should have talked from the start. The guardian asks if this entire world is under his rule, but Ji-tae says he needs an answer. There should have been a problem in the dimension, so how did they all survive? The guardian tells him it's because of the twist of the dimension itself. Their lord opened a dimension connecting the nest to this world, but for some unknown reason, the dimension became twisted, and they were flung out of the dimensional boundary. Ji-tae says to tell him more about the twist. He says he doesn't know much about it, but their lord once said, there is this thing called the horizon of providence. He uses his finger to use magic, giving a rough explanation, saying that from what he's heard, the twist of a dimension is a problem that occurs because of the power derived by the horizon. The other dimensions start to twist around the horizon of providence itself. Ji-tae says this is strange. In his previous cycles, there weren't any explanations like this about the twist of the dimension. Also, the horizon of providence, it's a concept completely unique to him. This one is very different from their previous loops. To begin with, this is the first time a guardian has come to find him. As they start to heal themselves, he asks what the horizon of providence has to do with them managing to get here, and if they're saying it helped them. The guardian says to be more precise, will beyond the horizon help them? Ji-tae asks him to elaborate. He says that it felt like some kind of will guided them all, that told them which way to go. When he followed the path to gather the other guardians, he found the place where the hatchlings were. Ji-tae tells him to hold still, as he needs to confirm something. He places his hand on his head, and forces him to gaze into his eyes. He uses the scale called Scales of Balance, which is SS rank. It is one of the 3 authorities taken from the Grand Duke. It's an eye that discerns good and evil, truth and lies, also likes and dislikes. He can tell it's speaking the truth, and says that, Since it is, he needs to think about this. He dealt with everything that could pose a threat to the world, just in case a problem like this arose. In the meantime, he inspected and double-checked the dimensions countless times. So why is something unknown appearing yet again? The Guardian says about the will beyond the horizon, it sounded like it was dissatisfied, as if it were cursing. Perhaps it's because he has a core created with the green dragon's power. Jite thinks about it, then slowly raises his hand, grabbing straight onto the Guardian's chest, and he starts to scrape apart the metal itself. The Guardian screams as Jite pulls it off. He's then surprised by what he sees. As there's a white void inside of the Guardian, he uses the authority of his clock to identify the twisted flow of time. It searches for the elements, exhibiting hostility towards them, and it expresses intense rejection toward the elements that have deviated from this world's timeline. It bundles it up into golden chains, and lifts them towards Jite, as an hourglass forms. It says that it will now form, and designate all elements that have appeared outside the timeline, or possess their own timelines as enemies, and will investigate them. Jite says the authority, which has always remained still except for when he regressed, has begun to interfere, but there's nothing he can do right now, as he has to wait. Guardians are all confused how a weird light became a clock, but also they say it's resolved now. Jite asks what they will do. He's already watching over the dragon, so they don't need to be here. The subjugation magic should have been dispelled due to the twisted dimension, so is there even a reason for them to be here to begin with? They ask if they're really being let go. Jite says they don't make trouble for him, he doesn't care. 3 of them say they will be dipping, as bro is too scary. Jite says that's good, but the other one says he can't leave. Jite asks why not. He says he's a guardian of the history and causality. Jite hits him, sending him flying across the room, and walks over, asking him once more if he's really not going to leave. He says he can't, and Jite starts to push down, cracking the floor beneath him, saying that he'll ask for the last time if it will not leave. The Guardian tells him he can't. The Guardian says no matter how many times he asks, he won't listen, and by nature, that man is the dullest one. He's foolish, and cannot seize freedom even when it's right in front of him. Jite thinks about it, saying that's fine with him, and that this one is plenty fit to be a guardian. The rest are confused, before he cuts off their heads, actually killing them this time. The Guardian asks if he was just testing him. Jite says not really, but he figured he was unusual, wondering why he wants to protect the green dragon so much. He says it's just that he hasn't lost his loyalty to the green dragons. Jite says he gets that he's loyal, but right now the green dragon is under his protection. Since he is weaker than him, what can he do as a guardian? But there is one role he can take on right now. Later, Geul, Giol, and Yoram come out into the hallway, as Jite introduces the brand new janitor. Bro says he didn't sign up for this shit. But of course, Bro instantly starts doing the dishes, and once he finishes cleaning some of them, he feels oddly satisfied. Right after he told all the girls that he was going to be a janitor, they had a private sidebar, and he asked what he meant by that. Jite asks if he didn't like the position, but the Guardian asks what being a janitor has to do with protecting dragons. He doesn't understand. Jite says that he alone is enough to protect them. Even so, he went out of his way to create a position for him, so if he can't even do janitorial work, he'll destroy him. So he better do his best. Realizing that he's been made into a housewife, he wonders how it ended up like this. Bomb then approaches him, saying that he must be a guardian from Escalapa. He calls her Green, but instantly corrects himself to Lady Bomb, asking if she's alright. She says yes, it's only a minor sickness, and she heard that he'll be staying to work as a janitor. He says that's just how it ended up, and she tells him the apron actually suits him, and that she looks forward to working with him, calling him the name janitor. Bro starts to blush. Maybe he's just a cutie after all. And he says that be it sweeping or washing dishes, he'll do it. We learn that his name is actually Armada. He breaks the dish, saying that he will make sure to not let even a droplet of water land on her hands. After realizing what he just did, she says that was a pretty expensive one. A little later, we see Geul doing a photoshoot, as one of the girls is playing My Dress Up Darling with her. Geul says that she can't help but take so many pictures, as it's adorable. Then she asks Bomb where she got all these clothes. She says she ordered them as soon as she got better, asking Geul how she likes them. Geul nods, and smiles, and they say that they can tell she likes it, as she can't hide that smile. Geul then asks Armada which clothes he likes the best. He says all of them suit Geul perfectly. Jite watches as they're having a wholesome moment, noticing the marks on Geul's hand, asking if she's still playing the guitar. She hides it, saying that she just plays it in her free time. Bomb tells him not to be so harsh, as it's her hobby. Ji-tae says he didn't mean it like that, but he hasn't seen Yoram the whole day, asking if she's still watching dramas. Armada says he thinks so, as he went to clean her room, but was rejected. He was worried, because she didn't look that great, and Bomb says she probably hasn't been sleeping at all. Ji-tae decides to go have a talk with her as the guardian. He approaches her room, and when he looks inside, he sees it full of alcohol and cigarettes, and she's already opening a new cold one. She asks what he's doing here all of a sudden. He says he just wanted to check if she's alive. Then he looks over, asking if this is what she's been watching. She says she has, asking if he's seen it. He says he hasn't, and she tells him it goes up to season 7, but the story is so shit, and the historical accuracy is trash too. He tells her not to watch it then. She says she didn't think about that, asking if he's a genius. He sighs, telling her to come outside, as he has something to tell her. As he has all the girls in the living room, he says they're going to do a deep clean on the house today. They all ask why, except for Bomb, and he says he understands they're not humans, but they have to live like them, at least while they're here on Earth. Especially Gaeul and Yoram, because their rooms are filthy. Gaeul asks when he entered her room, as her mom said that you can't enter another dragon's lair without their permission. He then asks if she ever told her to clean her room, and she says that's not important right now. Ji-tae says to leave the living room and kitchen to the janitor, and they should clean up their own rooms. Yoram says that's bullshit. They have a janitor for a reason, so why does she have to do it? She starts picking her nose. Gaeul says that it's gross, and then she puts it right towards her mouth, causing her to scream. She begins crying, saying she hates stuff like that, and she can't stand gross things. Yoram hits her with a truth bomb, saying that maybe she should clean her dirty room then. Though hers is nasty as hell. She tells Armada that she's going to the gym, so he should go clean her room, and she'll come back and check later. Bomb says that she cleaned her room yesterday, so she'll go buy some stuff for dinner. Since they have more mouths to feed, she's going to make some better dishes today. Ji-tae says okay, and starts to hold on to Gil, but then recalls that she's a fucking awful cook. Bomb then asks if he wants something specific, and he tells her to have a safe trip. Armada then heads into Yoram's room, and looks horrified. He says that he doesn't even have a nose, yet he can feel the stench. It's like the demon world. Rather, it's worse. That must be why she didn't look so good back then, and she could be training her poison resistance in here. He decides to start with the big ones, and the shadow appears, saying that he can't throw that away in there, as that's a can. Cans and plastics have to be sorted separately before throwing them away. For a janitor to not know even the basics of cleaning, there must be no such concept as recycling in Escalapa, and he can't help but wonder how uncivilized it is. Armada says that others may not notice, but he can feel the demon world's energy from it, and that must be his clone. Shadow asks what he's doing standing there, and if he's going to spend all day staring. Armada says he sure is acting like the real thing. Then Ji-tae appears, saying that he told him to clean, asking what they're doing. Shadow says that he's here, and he was just giving the janitor some advice, because he wasn't doing his job right. Armada gets annoyed, and Ji-tae says that he shouldn't just stand there, and has to clean with him. He sent Shadow here, because it'd be tough for Armada to clean this pigsty alone. Armada instantly feels relieved, and we see Yoram at the gym. Bomb is out shopping, and Gaeul just did the old classic shove my shit into the closet until it burst. Armada and Shadow got busy with deep cleaning, and finally it was all finished. Shadow reported the work being completed, and Ji-tae says good job, then shows him on the laptop this is where he'll be heading. He asks where this is, and then looks at the map, saying that this is Moscow. Ji-tae explains that the demonic human organization Invisibility is researching a transcendent type demonic human there, so he needs to wrap up his police work within the week, and head to Russia. Once he's there, find the Commander Class Transcendent Demon Prototype X. Shadow says that he'll get ready right away. Bomb then says that she's home, and Armada and Gaeul greet her, saying that she brought a lot. She says they have more people to feed, so she figures she should cook more. Shadow says that since she's back, he'll be leaving, but Ji-tae tells him to wait, as he has to swap clothes with him right now. Turns out he big brained the hell out of this, as the nightmare food has been made. While Yoram, Gaeul, and Gil all seem to really like it, because it's just like their food in Escalapa. They say that they wish Armada could eat with them, but it sucks he doesn't have a mouth. Meanwhile, the Shadow stares down at the food, and begins to sweat nervously, asking if he really called him here because of this, as this is worse than anything he could find in the demon realm. Later, at a closed industrial complex near the lair, we see people murdered all over the place, and one man is still being kept alive. Asking if he really thinks he can get away with this, calling him a lowly human. Of course, it's none other than Ji-tae, and the guy says that he'd get on his knees, and beg him if he knew who was backing him. Ji-tae cuts off his arms, saying that he knows too well. As the guy falls to the floor, he walks over, grabbing him by the hair, saying that he knows it's Wei Yuan, or should he call him a human affiliated with invisibility? It seems Wei Yuan is plotting something, wondering what he wants. Ji-tae asks the man what he's trying to accomplish. He stabs through the guy's throat. Then uses the scale of balance, saying that his lies won't work, so he has to speak the truth. With the blade still in his throat, he says that he doesn't know, but in 3 months, if he succeeds, he said that he can also be chosen. Ji-tae asks if he means for the seats. The man says yes. Ji-tae explains that the seats refer to the 4 chosen demonic humans of the organization Invisibility. Usually, demonic humans work in decentralized structures, but those who rise to the seats can have their own legions. They also obtain power equivalent to those of the disaster level, the highest rank among demonic humans. But it's strange. Wei Yuan never rose to that position in his previous runs. Furthermore, Wei Yuan shouldn't have the strength to plot anything. His clock then begins to appear, and as it reads, "Malice sent from beyond the horizon of providence." It searches for a being who has deviated from the world's timeline, targeting Wei Yuan. A being from outside this world's timeline who harbors discontent towards regression has interfered. Wei Yuan exists with the finest elements of the past cycles, having deviated from the flow of repeated regressions. Ji-tae says first the Guardians, now Wei Yuan. It can interfere with everything related to him. The man then calls out to him, saying that's all he knows. But if he spares him, he can get him more info, as he has a sick mother waiting at home, and he won't betray him. Ji-tae, of course, finishes cutting off his head, and falls onto the floor with the man crying. He then says that he's already told him that his lies won't work. Of course he would have died even if he did tell the truth. Ji-tae then snaps his finger, as a purple flame starts to consume the building. It's a scale called destruction, which is S rank. Later, at the park, he explains that if the plan would allow Wei Yuan to rise to the position of seat, it has to be of a huge scale. In that case, there's a high chance it's related to the lair. He recalls Wei Yuan mentioning the end-of-year event, saying it might have something to do with his plan. He then hears women talking about how cute the baby is, and he spots Bomb with Gil. They say they've never seen a girl this cute, asking what her name is. So Bomb tells her it's Gil. They say her name's so pretty too, and it suits her hair color. They ask the girl how old she is, and then Ji-tae appears, asking what business they have with the child, and they say none at all before running away. Bomb says she hasn't seen him the whole day, asking where he's been. He says he had some business to attend to, but wonders what she's doing here with Gil. She says she hasn't spent much time with her, because she's been sick. School starts tomorrow, so she figured she wouldn't have much time to spend with her in the future either. Ji-tae says he sees, and Bomb stares at him, and smiles. As he stares at Gil, she says that sitting here with him makes her feel like a real family. Gil is the daughter, and she's the mother. As Ji-tae watches Gil infatuated with the water, Bomb says that must make him the father. Ji-tae stares at her, and she starts laughing, saying that she's just kidding, so he doesn't have to look so serious. He says if she's going to say weird things, they can go home. He picks up Gil, as they do start to walk back, and she smiles, because she wasn't kidding. The next day, school finally starts, as people from all over start to gather, going to the lair. Gaeul says that finally she can go to school, as she's been doing nothing but watching anime to study up for it. She's carrying toast in her mouth. She asks Bomb what classes she's taking, because she wants to have the same ones. Bomb tells her. Then says she's been wondering what's the deal with the toast in her mouth, as she already had breakfast at home. Gaeul says it seems she doesn't know. Her mom said that if you bump into someone with a piece of toast in your mouth, that person is your destined partner, and that she will also meet her fated partner one day. She bumps into Yoram. Yoram says oh no, it seems she bumped into her, and that means she's her destined partner. Gaeul says that she's a girl though, and Yoram asks if that matters. She saw some American drama, and girls were kissing, and all that other stuff. She then takes her toast, and asks where Ji-tae is, as he was meant to come to their class observation. Bomb says that he had to go visit the academic affairs office to check something. Yoram then says that he wasn't home yesterday either, so he must be seeing a girl or something. Bomb just got hit with a mental nuke, saying there's no way it's like that. Gaeul asks if she's sick or something, because she's suddenly sweating. She then looks over, spotting a lot of reporters, wondering what they're doing here. Yoram says that they came to pick out some noteworthy freshmen, it seems. Bomb, still devastated, says she's going to be going to class. One of the reporters turns, and asks the rest if that's not Yoram. They say so, and she starts to recall what happened last time she talked to reporters, and they run at her, asking if she has time for an interview. They continue, as Geul hides behind her, wondering what's the deal with them. Yoram yells out, telling everyone to shut the hell up, saying that it seems like the answer she gave them wasn't enough, and that she'll take them all one by one, and show them that they're just trash reporters. Back at the house, we see Geul sitting in front of the door, looking sleepy. Armada spots her, saying that this is awkward. He recalls Jitae saying the kids are at school, and he won't be home either. Today, it will just be him and Geul in the house, so he needs to take good care of the child. Armada says he didn't expect to be assigned a task harder than cleaning, as he's never taken care of a child before. Then he calls out to Geul, who turns. He tells her that the other ladies, and the homeowner will return in the evening, so how about she stops waiting, and rests somewhere comfortably. She stares at him for a second before going back to looking at the door. He says this shit's so awkward, and he sighs, saying that he'll get to cleaning. In the living room, he spots a bunch of toys, and comes up with an idea. He goes back to Geol, asking if she would like to read a picture book with him. She crawls over to him in the living room, and her eyes start to sparkle. He says it's a relief. He's glad she's interested in the book, and that he'll read it for her. The title is My Dad is a Fairy, Long, Long Ago Deep in a Forest. He says that if it's an ancient forest from long ago, that would be the primordial forest before the Demon Age. Anyway, that's where Dolsun and her father lived. Armada says it seems the mother must have died, but still, Dolsun is lucky. In that era, having even one parent alive was a miracle. Before she fell asleep, her father always told her stories of old times. Armada says that's interesting, and that means that it must be about the Great War. That would mean Dolsun's dad is probably a war fanatic. Geel's confused on what he's doing to the story. He continues, saying one morning, Dolsun woke up, realizing that her father was not at home. Armada says maybe he went to go find a new mother. That era said that taking female war captives as concubines was normal. But also Dolsun must be happy she'll get a new mother. As he continues, he looks over, spotting Geel absolutely dejected. Then he asks what's wrong, and wonders if she doesn't like the story. She points, and he looks over, seeing her pointing at the corner. And then she points at him, then back at the corner again. He goes to sit there, and sulk while she kicks her feet reading the book. Bomb's still wondering if Jitae is with some mystery woman. Somebody else starts to pull up to the school. She hops out of the driver's car, and everybody turns their heads. Her name is Gong Juhee. She's a successor of Korea's top 3 swordsmanship clans, though she cares more about her appearance than swordsmanship. She says she hates sword training because she gets sweaty, and ruins her makeup. Then wonders why all the reporters were gathered, saying they must have been waiting for her. She tells her secretary Kim that she doesn't like attracting attention, just to handle him. He says that they're not here for her, and she's surprised. She starts to look over at the reporters, and then is shocked to see Yoram, saying she's super pretty. Geul asks how this guy became her chair, and she says she has no idea. He said he wanted to. She asks if he's okay with it, as he's shaking like a leaf in the wind. He says of course, he's her fan after all. One of the reporters asks if they can begin the interview. She says if they don't follow the order, she'll drop the interview, and go in. It's 1 question per person. She picks a guy that looks easy to draw, and he introduces himself, and she says it's too long, going next. People keep asking her question after question, and she just gives the most bullshit nonchalant answers she can. One of them though is some fat greasy pig, asking what was the meaning behind what she shouted at the recent interview. She says that he knew what it meant. Also, he smells like a Magic the Gathering convention. She goes to call for the next, and he tells her not to brush it off, asking why she picked that word among so many if she had a different intention. Yoram then asks him if he wants to do that with her. He asks what kind of joke this is, and she says that if he knows it's a joke, then he should stop clinging to her words. He says that she seems young, and inexperienced, so that's what reporters do. He tells her to respond nicely so he can write. She tells him there's a time limit to her patience. We see him recording it, saying aggression will boost the views just like he wants, and he should provoke her more. He says that if she acts like this, he'll have to write the article based on his own interpretation. She keeps yelling at him, then we see her fist shaking out of anger. Telling him that he can say whatever he wants, but she'll kill him before he publishes anything. As she goes in for the punch, somebody blocks it, as it's none other than Ji-tae. Gaeul says that was good timing, and Ji-tae asks if she really came here just to make trouble. She goes to explain about the pig, but Ji-tae picks her up. She hits him, telling him to put her down, and he says the interview ends here. If they publish any articles about this, he will find them. He starts to release aura, and stomps his foot, which is enough to break all of their electronics entirely. Yoram is speechless, and Ji-tae tells Gaeul that if she doesn't want to be late, to get inside. As they walk by Juhi, she asks her secretary if he saw that shit. He says they need to figure out which clan that guy is from. Why's he got that Super Saiyan haircut? She then says that yellow-haired girl has a massive chest, and Kim looks at her, wondering if that was really all she was thinking about. Inside one of the lecture halls, we see a man greeting everybody, saying that he is the professor of swordsmanship named Kai. Today's lesson is about the history of swordsmanship, and the proper mindset for those who wield a sword. Yoram says that she just wants to learn how to fight already. Ji-tae tells her this is unexpected, as he thought she'd get bored, and run out immediately. She says that she's endured even super boring dramas to the end, and she wants to work hard until she breaks that piece of shit she met in Africa. Then wonders why he's here in class with her, saying that he's too old for this shit. He says that she knows the reason better than he does. She says that she hasn't caused any problems, and she's been behaving well recently. He asks her if she forgot that she tried to beat up that reporter earlier, and she realizes she did. Then doubles down, saying that he kept provoking her, and if he were in her shoes, he would have done the same thing. He tells her to stop leaning on him, because it's hot. She then asks if this kind of physical contact is making him go crazy, and if he's embarrassed. He keeps his stoic expression, and she pouts, calling him boring. He says studying is always boring. She says that's not what she's talking about, and that a kidnapper should at least be interesting. At first, he looked like he wasn't normal, so she expected the coming days to be filled with dopamine-filled moments. And she didn't sign up for this family roleplay stuff. He says if they look at what happened on their way to school alone, it's stimulating enough. She says not boring stuff like that. She means fighting, killing, getting drunk on victory, and all those other things. Kai then says that she seems restless today, and that there's a good solution for times like this. She can stay after class with her chaperone. Some time later, in a storage closet, we see her cleaning wood and training swords, absolutely furious. She asks why she has to scrub all this, and Ji-tae tells her to complain less, and scrub faster. She asks why they don't just call Armada over and make him do it. He likes cleaning up, and wiping. Ji-tae then asks who's going to watch over Gyeol. And she says that the blue one's useless anyways. But she's curious if he studied when he was young. Ji-tae says that he never had the time to do it. She says that means he's a screw-up, just like her, and not having time to study is just an excuse. He says back then they were in the middle of a war, so he was trying to survive. She asks if he's messing with her again. If he says stuff like that, then what does that make her? She puts another cigarette into her mouth, and stares at him, asking if his life is even fun. He says not really. She asks why he's living a boring life, because if she was as strong as him, she wouldn't live one like this. But maybe he got too strong, and lost the thrill. He says life continues, and he can't give up. She wonders what kind of edgy teenager line that is. He tells her to stop yapping, and get back to work. Later that night in the living room, Gyeol's playing, as Bomb watches, Armada cleans, and Yoram's trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. She's trying her best to do it, as Armada keeps cleaning behind her, making loud sounds. She yells, throwing it, hitting him, saying that he should stop hovering around like a damned helicopter. He apologizes, and she starts to lay down, calling him useless. Bomb says that she's in a bad mood today, asking if it's because of the reporters. She says that too, but she just has no thrill. And maybe it's because she hasn't fought lately. She then calls out to Bomb, and Bomb's just surprised she actually called her by her name. Then asks if she's sick, or if she needs a hospital. She says that she'll just go back to calling her green, but then tells her that's not the point, asking why she lives. Bomb and Gyeol stare at her, and Bomb says that it seems like Yoram is finally entering puberty. Gyeol agrees. And Yoram yells, saying that she can hear all of that. She asks Ji-tae next what he lives for, and he says that's because his life continues, and he can't give up. She even mimics his face. They say that sounds just like him. Then she says that Ji-tae doesn't feel any enjoyment. But humans live to feel enjoyment, and if you can't feel that, then you have no reason to live. For example, Gaeul only talks about food. Gyeol is happy playing with toys. Things like this. Bomb says maybe he just didn't tell them because he has something he likes. Yoram says that Bom's kind of like him. She asks how, and says they're both unreadable, but also both super boring. Bom asks if she really thinks so, and Yoram asks if there's anything she enjoys in life. Bom says there is one thing. Then asks if she knew that Ji-tae is surprisingly shy. Yoram's confused, saying that he's clearly a psychopath. Bom says she thought that at first too. Bom recalls the expression he made when she made the father joke on the bench, saying that he has some unexpectedly cute reactions. Yoram asks what the hell's with that creepy smile, asking if they've been doing weird stuff behind their backs, and she starts tickling her. Bom says no. Gaeul then makes her way down the stairs, saying that the entire Lair community forum is talking about Yoram, and she has a fan cafe now. Yoram asks what the hell that even means, and Bom tells her to stop. Gaeul wonders what the hell she just walked in on, then recalls the comment she made this morning at school, and gets embarrassed, telling them to finish up what they were doing. Yoram asks what she was imagining. And sometime later, we see Ji-tae changing clothes, and his door opens as Bom enters. She says that she has something to ask of him, and he wonders what it is. She slams the door after seeing him buttoning up his shirt, saying that she should have knocked. He says that he's dressed, telling her to come in, and then when she does, she asks if he would like to accompany her today. He asks why she wants him to accompany her all of a sudden. She says that he always goes around with Gaeul and Yoram, but he hasn't gone out with her even once. He explains it's because those two are the most usual suspects when it comes to getting into trouble, but Sai's saying never mind. Gaeul asks why she's not going to school, and she says that she's asking him out on a date. She's surprised, and then Yoram says that obviously she means as her chaperone. Gaeul said now that she thinks about it, he never goes around with Bom, saying surely he's not playing favorites with the two of them. Ji-tae says that's not it. Gaeul continues, saying that favoritism is bad, but she gets it. Her mom used to meet 100 human men at a time, but she always said 2 or 3 she liked more. Yoram says that her mom is like a doorknob, and everybody gets a turn. Gaeul says that she knows, and Bom says that if that's the setting, she might be one of the 97 abandoned men. Ji-tae asked what that means, and she says that he kidnapped her first, but he doesn't pay attention to her at all, like how you don't care about a fish after you've caught it. And she says that she's the only one abandoned by him. Gaeul consoles her, calling Ji-tae mean. Yoram says that she gets why he only goes around with them, but they don't cause trouble everywhere they go, so he should be fine going out with her, as he can't monitor them forever. Ji-tae agrees, saying fine, and Gaeul and Bom literally just guilt-tripped him. Later at the school, we see Bom's class. Some people say that she must be the older sister of the famous Yoram. They talk about how pretty she is, but also that she got a perfect score in the entrance interview. They wonder what family she's from, and then after they learn it, they say that it's something they've never heard of. A woman says that's it for today's social etiquette theory class, and they'll spend their remaining time practicing dance. Some of the kids ask if they really have to, calling it embarrassing. She asks how that's embarrassing at all. When you become superhumans representing your families, you have to attend formal events. Being clueless and awkward will be even more embarrassing than learning how to dance. She tells everybody to pair up in twos, and if there's someone you like, it's okay to be brave and ask. Then the students realize that Bom doesn't have a partner, and they thought the boys would line up for her, but they say it makes sense, as she just gives off a hard-to-approach vibe. The teacher walks over saying that it's a shame she's the only one without a partner right now, and Bom says she's not very popular. The teacher says that she's so pretty, maybe they'll pair up together, but she then asks if maybe she can dance with her chaperone instead. She says of course, and Bom turns into Sonic running over to Ji-tae. She then gets right in front of him and stretches her hand out, saying it's time to go. He tells her he can't dance. She asks if he's really going to leave her all alone, and he sighs before agreeing. He heads up, and the teacher says that they need to take their partner's hand slowly in step, as she starts guiding them. Ji-tae stands before her and looks a little nervous. She spots his hand twitching a bit. She asks if maybe he's too embarrassed to touch her. He says that's not it, and she grabs his hand saying not to worry. Touching hands doesn't instantly connect their emotions, if that was what he was worried about. He says he sees, and she also tells him not to think about slacking, as it affects her score. He says he understands, and she says it's time to start. As they do so, he looks just a bit awkward, but she's guiding him well. She says that his hands are really sweaty, but she actually finds it comforting. She spots him, his neck and face sweaty as well, and his chest, and recalls earlier when she caught him changing, and starts to blush, causing her to trip, but he catches her. Her heart starts to race as she looks up at him. Her face lights up once more before her nose begins to bleed. Later, They head to a cafe within the school as we see her with her nose blocked, and she was here sipping her drink. Ji-tae says that she should go to the hospital, but she says dragons don't need to, and she's fine now. He says it's strange, he didn't hit anything, so why is she bleeding from her nose? She says she wonders, then looks away awkwardly, asking how she's meant to know. She says that he dances way better than he expected, asking if he learned something before. Of course he did. In one of the previous cycles, he had a partner whom he loved, and she taught him how to dance when it was just the two of them, but he lies to her, saying that he never learned how. She pulls out her nose tampon, asking if he has anything to do after school. He says he doesn't, and she says that they could do something fun together. Elsewhere in Russia, within the invisibility research facility, the sirens are blaring as people are dead in the hall, and a woman looks back, asking where that monster even came from, and that the people here can't stop it, so she should get out of here and contact headquarters. She makes it out of the door and starts to run, and Shadow appears behind her, asking why she's in such a hurry. She asks what he wants. He says that his lord is looking for something, wondering where the commander-class transcendent demonic human type X went. They yell, saying they'd rather die than tell him, and Shadow says he's killed plenty of their kind, and he's learned something. When they're about to die, their true nature shows. The pain gets too strong, their human-like behavior comes out, and they start flailing like a puppet with a cut string. Then he asks if she wants to dance under the moonlight with him. Some time later, the woman starts to bleed out on the floor, as Shadow has killed her. He then reports back to Ji-tae, saying that Type X was already used for demonstration and sent to the headquarters. Also, this time the Type X is female, unlike his previous loops. Ji-tae thinks about it, asking if the chief researcher was named Vera. He says it was. Ji-tae tells Shadow to disguise himself as that woman, and infiltrate the headquarters, finding out who X is. Shadow says of course. Then Ji-tae thinks about it, saying that the commander-class transcendent demonic human for Prototype X is a demonic human possessing the special ability to bind countless minds together into one. The longer it survives, the more minds it gathers, growing into an increasingly dangerous being. For that reason, he always prioritizes killing X first in every regression, but in this one, the information differs from every other cycle, making this search extremely difficult. The clock then activates, starting to read malice sent from beyond the horizon of Providence, searching for the being who has deviated the timeline. It continues scanning. Ji-tae says that the fact that X's identity changed must be another deed of malice the Guardian spoke about, but nothing changes. He'll kill anything that disrupts his daily life. Bomb says to come here for a second, and he asks what it is. She tells him to hurry, and then she asks how it looks, and if it looks good on her. Now she's showing him her bathing suit. He turns away, asking what she thinks she's doing. She said that it's almost summer, so she thought she'd buy a nice bikini. She says that he can't see that well from there, asking if he wants to come inside to get a better look. He sighs, saying that she said it'd be fun, but this is just another pointless prank. She laughs, saying that she's having fun though, then says that he might be having weird thoughts, and she looks scared. He says not to make him angry. Later, she tells him to be honest, asking if he wanted to take a peek. He says he didn't, and she asks how he could not want to take a look, and that maybe she should have bought it. He asks if she's done fooling around, as they should head home. She laughs, saying she came here for the kids' presents. He asks what she means, and she says that he already knows that Gil's teddy bear is completely ragged, so she's going to buy her a new one, but also get gifts for the others. Ji-tae asks what she's going to get. She says that Geul only buys clothes and doesn't care about anything else, so she'll get a nice wallet, so she won't feel small when she hangs out with her friends. He asks what she'll get for Yoram, and she says that yesterday she asked her, and there is something that she wants, but it's a bit weird. She says that she's going to look for their gifts, so Ji-tae needs to go pick out Gil's. He says understood, and as he walks away, she stares at him, wondering if he'll be fine or not. He heads to a toy store, and the receptionist is staring at him, trying to assess on some home shit. She says judging by his height and build, he looks like he's in his late 20s to 30s, and she says that he might be a model, or even a soldier, but he's also really good looking, but he's not here with a woman, and she can tell he knows nothing about baby toys, and people like him open their wallets easy. She starts to scout his power level, and walks over, asking how old his child is. He says about 4, and she says that's such a lovely age, asking if it's his daughter. He says no, it's not his daughter, but she is a girl. She says that then that must make him the uncle, and it's rare for uncles to pick up gifts themselves, that the child will love it, though he's lacking a bit of sense. She puts a stethoscope up to his chest, saying that for a 4-year-old kid, Instead of dolls, a playset is better. Then she starts complimenting his body, and she says that he can bond with the child by playing like this. Also, if he buys the doctor playset, the other sets are 10% off, asking if he wants to take a look. He thinks about her dressing up as a little nurse, and how it might be pretty cute, saying that he'll be counting on her. She says this guy's a total chump, and she's gonna drag him for all he's worth. Holy shit, she actually did it, because she got him to buy so many things. She asks if he'll be paying with card, and then is surprised as he hands her a black card, issued only to VIP families. She says no wonder he bought everything she recommended, and the more she looks at him, the more charming he seems. He's also clearly not married, so maybe she should try seducing him. She then asks if he has a girlfriend, and Bomb grabs onto his arm, asking if he's really buying all of this. The girl can't believe that he has a girlfriend, then says that it's a student's uniform, and that she must be his younger sister. She says that these sets might be unfamiliar to the child at first, but she'll love them. Bomb, though, is adamant that Gil wouldn't like them. The girl asks what she means, and Bomb once more tells her that Gil will not like them. The girl laughs, saying that she sees, this might be better instead. Bomb looks over, spotting a teddy bear, saying that it's similar to her original doll, so it won't confuse her. Jitae says that's what he was going to get originally. Then Bomb asks if this gets the VIP discount too. Back at the house, all of their presents are ready, and we see them excited. They ask if this is really theirs. Gaeul and Yoram are actually into it, and Gil can't stop holding on to the bear. Gaeul asks Yoram what she got, because she can see Gil got a doll. She says that it's adults' toys. She pulls out a whip and handcuffs, and she tells her to come here, she needs to try something, and she says she doesn't want to, before we hear her screaming. Bomb takes a look over, spotting Gil, showing Jitae her thanks, and Bomb says she actually got him something too. He opens it, and we see it's a tie. She says that she noticed in class that he always wears the same one, so she got this. She'll buy him a suit when she makes her own money. He thanks her, saying that she should have got something for herself too. She says that she actually did buy something. He asks what it was, and she says that she'll show him later, as it's none other than that bikini she was trying on at the store. A few weeks later, Armada enters the room, asking if he called for him. Jitae says he's going to be away for 3 days, so he needs to take care of Gil in the meantime. Armada asks if he's going far. Jitae says he is, and also, Yoram will be coming with him. Back at the school, we see a giant portal, and the students say that it finally begins. The anti-demonic human battle simulation. We learn that it is a 2-night, 3-day survival combat between pupils inside a virtual dungeon. Pupils operate in teams of 3, and their chaperone gives them orders. This is called operating. The term originates from the superhuman groups that specialize in monster raids, where a role known as operator existed. Here, the chaperone performs the role of the operator. Yoram says that all these kids are terrified, and she doubts they've ever seen real combat. Jitae tells her that she doesn't have the luxury to be relaxed. She asks why, and he tells her that this isn't a solo raid. She'll be forming a 3-man team to clear the simulation. She says that she knows, but only if there's someone she likes. Some guy then calls out to her, saying that if she hasn't formed a team yet, he would like for her to join them. She tells him to get lost, and Jitae asks what their names are. The man introduces himself as Hisaki Sojiro, and the woman is Kim Ji-en. They both bow, saying that they'll work hard to try their best not to hinder her. Yoram says that she already told him to get lost. Jitae agrees though, and she asks why he's letting them into her party without asking. He says that if she doesn't like it, then go find her own team. She tells him that's a pain in the ass though. As they continue, Yoram says that if they get in her way during the battle, they're dead. Sojiro thanks her, before some dude gives him the Chris Brown backhand, saying that he told him before that he'd kill him if he loitered in front of him again. Sojiro apologizes, and he stares at Ji-en, saying that her boyfriend already apologized, so she can't say shit. He grabs her hair, telling her to open her mouth. His boys tell him that the other chaperones are watching, so not to go overboard, and we learn that his name is Johnny. He asks what the problem is, because these adults don't care about orphans anyway. He grabs her hair, saying that her face already looks gloomy enough, so she shouldn't move her bangs. She screams, telling him to let go of her. He laughs, asking if an orphan is really talking back. Yoram asks him what an orphan is, and he's just surprised she's so close, but he recognizes her as the lunatic of the school as she demands an answer. He says that the elders told him not to get involved with her, and laughs, asking if she really doesn't know. He says people without a chaperone, in other words, Trash with no backing. Yoram wonders why she's teaming up with beggars, and Johnny says that there's no way she's in the same team as them, as there is no way somebody as strong as her would even do that. He asks Yoram if she can join his team, as he'll open up a spot for her. His boys ask what he's saying, and he says that getting close to her will do him good. She seems to have similar tendencies, so if he handles her personality well, it'll be fine. She raises her fist and hits him straight in the face. Johnny's boys are surprised, but so are Sojiro and GN. She asks if he wants to die, calling him bowl cut, asking who said he could put his hand on her in the first place, as they're not even friends. First of all, they're not even equals. He realizes she's crazy. Holy shit, she knocked out his teeth. She yells, saying that if she sees him again, he's dead. And Sojiro and GN realize they might have made a mistake. Jite sighs. Then a man steps in front of everybody, saying it's time for him to explain the rules, so to listen well. He's the battle professor named Quan Giddy. He says that they are divided into 50 teams, each starting at a different spot. Activity score, kills, deaths, and damage taken are all converted into points, and those points are broadcast and ranked in real time. Know that if they die once, they will respawn at another spot after 3 hours. The name of the virtual dungeon is Ant Nest, and that's all he'll be telling them. So good luck. The students look anxious, and Yoram and them step in the portal, saying that it's not bad for a virtual dungeon, and that she's gonna go beat the shit out of everything. Jian tells her to wait, asking if she even knows where the other teams are. She says that they will run around, and they'll meet them. She says that she's sorry, but they're not fast or overflowing with stamina like her. If she rushes out alone, they could get ambushed from behind. She asks if she's bragging about being weak. Jian says that they need a plan before moving, which is all she wants her to know. Yoram says the plan is that she follows behind her. Jian says this isn't solo play, it's a team battle. She can't act on her own. Yoram says that she pities her, takes her in, and now she's barking at her. Sojiro tries to de-escalate, and then Jite asks if she has a target number. He wonders which team she wants to get behind. She says it won't be easy, every team has an operator, so they won't just expose their blind spots. Yoram says that there's no point in bothering, they just have to kill everyone they see. Later in the dungeon, we see Johnny covering his nose, and his teeth are fixed somehow. He says this shit still stings. His operator says that he told him not to mess with Yoram in the first place. He says he just wanted to be on good terms, he didn't know she was that crazy. His men then wonder if he was really planning on replacing one of them. He says of course not, he was just testing her. If he meets her, he'll tear her apart. We then hear Yoram asking if he's talking about her, as he turns, seeing her leaping at him. She smiles, telling him to try that shit if he wants, and she kicks him in the face, taking his health down from 100 to 17. It sends him flying into the wall, and the operator yells, telling them that they need to prepare for battle. One raises the blicky, and the other readies his weapon. Yoram asks what he means by battle, he's misunderstanding this. This is nothing more than a one-sided hunt, and they're little dogs. If you've watched till the end, comment, Barry, to let me know. Subscribe for more videos like this, leave a like or a comment to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.